Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back. I'm Ethan Decker, and with me, as always, as we do Cover Brand covers on brand with Jimmy Fallon, is an outstanding marketing and demand generation leader, innovative brand builder, and a woman who is hot off her one-night engagement as guest speller in the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, brought to you by Theater Under the Stars and Hobby Center for the Performing Arts, Laura Dodds. Hi, Laura.
Hi, my adoring public is clamoring for more Laura. So I always tell them, listen to Cover Brand covers on brand.
Well, now, not only do we have an entirely new set of follower on the show, but yes, all of your follower is now listening to us. But also, people want to, yeah, they're going to want to hear more after your amazing performance at the Putnam County
Absolutely.
Spelling Bee.
I spelled cow,
Good.
COW, cow.
Okay.
Um,
No silent H.
no spelling or anything. So if you want more of that, keep on listening. I can
Okay.
spell lots of words.
I can spell lots of words. Ex Google, ex Meta, Harvard. I can spell lots of words. I like it. I see it on your LinkedIn right now.
I'm not the first three. I am the fourth one though. So
All right. Well,
uh,
today we're going to talk about episode 7 of On Brand with Jimmy Fallon, guest starring Bozoma St. John, and sponsored this episode by KitchenAid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I did not know when I made KitchenAid my honorable mention the other week. I did not know that they would be the sponsor of this episode. Um, so that was a fun little surprise.
It was just a premonition you had.
I just felt it. I felt that there was synchronicity.
Use the force, Laura. Turn off the computer. Use the force. Oh, well, this was an interesting client and an interesting brief. The client
Mhm.
being KitchenAid. I think everybody knows of KitchenAid because they are one of the brands that has a truly iconic product, and they iconicize the shit out of that thing, which is the stand mixer.
Mhm.
It's a de rigueur choice for brides and grooms on their gift registry in middle and upper class America for sure. It's de rigueur for aspiring bakers to want to have one of those KitchenAid stand mixers. They are really built well. They're built like tanks. I think we even have one. We chose blue.
Ours is a teal.
Okay, very
Um,
nice.
but
Very
I
nice.
think, someday I might want to switch to like a baby pink. That's more my
Mm-hmm.
style. But right now I've got a teal.
Well,
And
let's do some really quick
yeah,
brand science on this fact about having an iconic product because
absolutely.
it cuts both ways. On the one hand, everybody knows the KitchenAid mixer, the stand mixer. It's gorgeous. It's classic. It's been around for 100 years, but very few people know of the rest of the product range.
Remember.
And KitchenAid is probably going around all the time saying, hey, we make more than just stand mixers.
Yeah.
But you don't get people into the brand without that iconic handle. So I tend to, when I work with clients who have this kind of problem, I say lean into the iconic thing because it's iconic. You have to keep it going. You have to support that. But then that's your doorway into other things. You just need to keep that door very wide open and realize a lot of people will never walk through it.
And that's what they were doing with the campaign I brought up last week was
Mhm.
what if every space on your countertop was as iconic as this stand mixer? And they were
Mhm.
advertising some larger product. But this campaign specifically focused on their KitchenAid Go products, which are lightweight, portable, battery operated products
Yes.
and come at a lower price point. So it's interesting that we have the really foundation of their brand, which is the mixer, at a pretty high price point. And now we're trying to capture at a lower price point, capture the market.
Yeah. And lower price point, I think, also goes along with a couple other things. So this is great because, yeah, they have a great new set, a whole new series, and it's called Go, KitchenAid Go,
Mhm.
all cordless. And they've basically adopted the system of power tools, DeWalt, Makita, Nikita, Milwaukee, where you just have those power packs, you slap them into your tool, and then you use the same power on all the different tools. I think that's kind of the system they've got. They didn't really showcase the products as much, but that's okay. But it's different price point, different usage, smaller footprint, hopefully more versatile. Like,
Mhm.
I love the hell out of my immersion blender.
Okay. Okay.
Small, portable. It's a wand. You stick it in your chunky soup, and then you hit blend, and it turns it into a beautiful, creamy blended soup. But it's corded, so the cord is constantly hanging down and dripping, getting
Mhm.
stuff on it. So it's a really neat system. Go is pretty damn simple when it comes to a sub brand.
Yes, KitchenAid Go. It definitely communicates the value. Sort of on the go. You're mobile. You're not constrained.
Yeah, mobile. How often do you take your kitchen gadgets with you outside of the home?
See, that was my I guess we'll jump into it, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but my issue was that I don't think the client actually wanted what they were asking for today.
Mm,
Um,
another
you know,
conflicted brief.
a lot of the campaigns were like, "Oh, you can take this out camping, and you could take this, uh, blah blah blah." And I was thinking, like, I literally wrote in my notes, "I'm not concerned about immersion blending on a mountaintop.
No.
I want a knife and maybe a heat source, but I'm not like, I don't need to be making, the most efficient fresh juice with my cordless juicer on a mountaintop." So they
So true.
wanted a campaign that showcased that you could take this anywhere and that it was mobile and blah, 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 blah. But I think there's a mismatch between the value of the products and what they were asking for in this campaign.
Well, this is where I wish not just Bianca, but others did a little research on who is this really best suited for
Mhm.
and what are the most common use occasions. I am a huge fan of occasions as opposed to demographics. Like, yes, you could say, well, we're targeting the 20 something young millennial who's still living in an apartment because they can't afford a house. So they need compact devices
Mhm.
with not a lot of cords getting everywhere because they've got all their portable electronics plugged into those outlets anyway. But I think that would negate the fact that maybe folks who are older and are empty nesters and downsizing would absolutely love these products too. And then they can bequeath their 45-year-old KitchenAid stand mixer to their kids for their tiny crappy apartments, and then they can use this new KitchenAid Go series in their tiny efficiencies or in their if they go to assisted living. Like there are lots of different occasions, but overall there was a real murkiness about who would really love this and therefore what do we really have to showcase about it. Classic
Yeah,
marketing stuff.
ultimately, I think this was the most stark example of walking away from this episode. I didn't really know what the value of the product was, who they were trying to go after, or
Mhm.
the specific use cases. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. A little bit of
that
research would have helped.
that one was really challenging. So I don't know if that's not something that was super clear from the brief or the market research they're providing
Yeah.
or whatever it is. For me, something was missing.
But it's a great lesson for anyone out there doing marketing. If you're given a new bunch of products to sell, you should figure out, well, who would love this? Who would go, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And that is who you want to start selling to because those are the folks who will talk about it a little bit, or at least will love it up and maybe buy another product, a second product.
Mhm.
It's rare that anyone's going to get more than one of these things. That's just a
Yeah.
law of nature.
And
Yeah, it
maybe
was a
it's
challenging
something
brief.
like maybe it's something like a college student that loves to cook and they go to college for the first time. They don't have a
Right,
kitchen. They
right.
don't have space for all of these huge products. It's at a great intro price for a college student specifically. And it's a
That's true.
brand your parents are using that you trust. Let's get that intro product and be a part of the KitchenAid ecosystem when I'm buying my first kitchen.
Caitlin's first
Um,
KitchenAid.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a concept that some marketers love, which I like a lot. It's called the point of market entry.
Mhm.
When do people enter that category? When you have a baby, it's kind of obvious that you're now in the diapers category. But when you go through puberty, you start to shave your face. Some ladies shave their legs. Menstruation, like there are all these points of market entry, and buying your first home has been the market entry point for the really expensive KitchenAid mixer.
Mhm.
But now they've got something where it's you're finally moving out, or you're finally living on your own, or you're finally getting your own first apartment or condo. And this could be your first nice appliance. And it just happens to also be cordless, which you're right. There's no reason it should be portable. No one,
Yeah.
no one goes anywhere. There's very little reason to take an appliance on the road.
But that seemed to be the big push that they wanted to highlight
Mhm.
over any other benefit. So,
Yeah.
anyways, the brief.
The brief.
Um,
That was only half the brief. There's a little more to the
so the
complex
brief
challenge here.
was to create a digital series featuring a celebrity influencer, campaign, and tagline.
Yeah. This again felt like, oh, we've covered a mascot, we've covered a jingle. What else can we do? Let's cover a digital series. And the one they referenced, which I love, is Hot Ones,
Mhm.
the interview show with hot chicken wings and hot sauce,
Yeah.
which oddly enough is actually a branded piece of entertainment. It was literally a journalist who said, how can I spice up celebrity interviews? I'll make them eat hot wings and fry
Yeah.
their face off. But Hot Ones is a great example. You've watched Hot Ones, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a favorite episode?
I haven't watched a ton of it. I did watch Lewis Hamilton. I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of him. So
Yeah.
I'm not a watch every episode kind of thing. It's more of a if there's a celebrity that I like, then I'll tune in.
So you know what's crazy? They've done 300 and something episodes of Hot Ones. So there are some fun ones. Shaquille O'Neal was funny. Billie Eilish was great. Um, but yeah, it looks like it should be a piece of branded content for sriracha or some crazy ass kicking hot sauce, but it's not. It's just an interview show.
Well, I think
Nonetheless,
it is now. You can buy all of the sauces now, so it's turned into a branded experience.
it has, and yet it didn't start as one. It didn't start
Mhm.
as, oh, we make hot sauce, let's create branded entertainment. Which is also kind of telling because people struggled with this brief. Like, oh, we have to be branded entertainment. And the clients, in particular, what was his name? Chad? Chad Reese, brand director of KitchenAid Small Appliances. Chad himself kept saying we need to feature the product more. And then when the product was
Mhm.
featured too much, he's like, oh, I guess they really did feature the product a lot. And that's a push pull and a challenge because if you're going to be branded entertainment, you are competing with Hot Ones or the
I think
next thing.
in that instance, it's really, what is the narrative? What's the story that we're telling? And if, and then have the products be a supporting
Mm-hmm.
character, but the
Yeah.
client really wanted the products to be the main character of this digital series. And frankly, no one cared.
No,
No one's going to be watching. I wonder what the coffee grinder is going to do this week. No one cares.
no one gives a shit. A good example of a branded series that really featured the product, but again, no one cared about the product. They really cared about the fun story. Will It Blend by Blend Tech.
Mm, yeah.
This guy, and I don't even know if he's the founder or owner or whatever, but is some random middle-aged white guy with safety goggles on. And he just had this insane blender. And he'd said, well, will it blend? And he would take out the brand new Apple iPhone, the first ever, in fact, drop it in his blender and blend that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And people, like, it was insane because he was buying the most sexy consumer products of the time.
I
But really, we just wanted to see it blend and then wonder if he's inhaling cadmium and mercury and crap. But it was great. And you're right. They didn't care. We didn't care about the blender. But at the end, we're like, holy shit. If I want a blender that works, I'm getting one of those suckers. They can blend
Yeah.
iPads.
It highlights the features and benefits of the blender, but the narrative is still outside of the blender itself. It's what's being blended, and
Yes.
then it just really drives home the value proposition.
Yep. Yep. I
So
think,
when they say digital series, what it sounded like, they didn't really clarify. What it sounded like was they wanted something that they can repeat 5, 10, 15 times,
yep.
where similar to the blendable one, we blend something new each time or something. So
Mhm.
it had to be a concept that's repeatable, but you can change it a little bit for each
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. They wanted something like Hot Ones or Will It Blend, frankly. Or another one they referenced was called Recess Therapy. An adorable show where this guy Julian goes and interviews like kids at recess, 2-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, something like that. And it's adorable. And you just want to see these because they're cute and they're human, and it's not about a product. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're right. That's the challenge, is if you really want something that's entertaining, it has to really be about humans. And then secondarily about the products.
The narrative and the story that we're telling, and then the products are there to emphasize it. And so
Yeah.
the biggest stumbling block here was that the client, and mentioned this so many times, oh, it's not really about the products. It's not really about the products. Yeah, because I don't go watch a digital series to learn about products. If I also happen to learn about products, great, but I'm not tuning in for the latest KitchenAid podcast.
No,
Right?
I care less about the brand of hot sauce, and I care more about who's crying on this episode
Mhm.
and what kind of crazy hot take questions the guy is asking, because he asks increasingly hotter questions as the sauce gets hotter. Yeah. And it was unfair to ask people to come up with a great idea on the spot when, of course, some of the best entertainers in the world are working on this right now. And we'll get to what I thought happened with some of their ideas and formats in a second. A couple more things on the client team. We had Chad Reese, Global Brand Director of KitchenAid Small Appliances. He had only been there for about 3 years, so he was the least experienced of all of our clients on the brand he's on. He's done other stuff. He was at
Yes.
Clorox and General Mills. And then Gabby was VP of Global Marketing and Operations at KitchenAid. And she had just arrived there from 25 years at Procter & Gamble, where she worked on their oral care, which is stuff like Crest, Oral-B, and Scope, right?
Okay.
So Oral-B is maybe the most technical, product-oriented, machinery-oriented brand. But yeah, neither of them had a ton of experience in the small appliance and kitchen and cooking realm. I don't know if that really mattered or really showed, but it was interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What I wrote is, this client doesn't want a digital series. They want very expensive commercials.
Well put. Very well put.
That's really the issue with this brief specifically, is that the client doesn't actually want what they're asking for. So Ethan, what do you do in that situation if you are a marketer? The client is asking for something that they don't want.
Yeah. What do you do? Well, you should bring in a third-party expert who understands brand science to track some placements to them, but it appears as a third-party neutral party and therefore not biased. I happen to know these folks at Applied Brand Science who can do just that. But short of that, I think you have to have some real hard conversations, and they're hard to have. And I do not suggest pushing back. I hate that concept because you have to win them over. That feels really different. To win someone over, right? You have to bring them in. You have to. It's like bringing them into a hug. Push back is like you're shoving them, and no client wants to get pushed back. So how do you win them over to the idea that if they really want to compete with hot ones, and way back in the early days, the art of the heist for BMW, or recess therapy by these adorable little kids, they really need to embrace that, and they can't straddle and do both. You know, they can't have ice cream on their salad. It's got to be either ice cream or salad. And to your point, like they just wanted salad. They wanted products. They wanted ads. And so to some extent, you can work backwards from the actual results and say, if you want X, then it really requires what's before X? W. And before W, it requires, and I'll go further back to R, and that requires K. And you really have to show what must be true, what needs to be true for them to get the results they want. Because they're often, all of us can be really, delusional that, oh, you know what, actually, if we show a lot of the product and then we have a celebrity in there, it's going to do the job.
Yeah.
Hard work.
I think it really ultimately, from a marketing agency perspective, like if I was an agency on this account, I don't know what I would do, to be quite honest, but I think sometimes it can go to show that you might have the best idea, the brightest campaign, the most amazing concept, but maybe the client just isn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's not the right time, the right team, whatever it is. And so that's where you, as the marketer or at the company or a brand that's pitching marketing concepts, you have to decide, do we do what the client's asking for, knowing that it's probably not, the science tells us it's probably not going to be successful?
Correct.
Or do we step away because we don't want to be associated with the campaign? And that it really just depends on the situation. There's no right answer, unfortunately.
No. And frankly, I like to say doing a great campaign is like fielding a national level team. It's hard. Everyone else is trying to do it too. The stars have to align. It can go wrong in 20 different ways. So for them to put together a killer, a recess therapy for KitchenAid that hits it out of the park with our surprise celebrity guest to boot, that it's like trying to get to the national championships or even the playoffs. It's hard. And so don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen. Don't gnash your teeth. I used to gnash my teeth so much when I was younger because it's like, this is so stupid. Why don't they? Why don't we? But the stars do have to align, and it's a real team effort.
Yeah. One example of this in particular is there's a podcaster, a digital content creator that I follow. She's very, very funny. Her name is Drew of Wallow. Drew started her career working in social media for the NFL. And she was pitching really great concepts and really great content, especially as TikTok began to rise. Pitching all this stuff, and the NFL just wasn't receptive to the concepts and the type of content she was pitching. So ultimately, she was let go because they said, we don't think you have the ability to build an audience.
Right.
Well, jokes on them. Now she has an audience of her own that's million. That's millions large, and she's one of the leading voices on TikTok. She's got a huge audience, making all these trends with stuff. And now the NFL has come around and sort of leaned into the type of content that she was pitching.
Yep.
So it's clear that she had the great ideas, she had the skills,
Mhm.
but the NFL wasn't ready.
Right.
So she
Yeah.
turned that into an opportunity and built her own brand. So
You know, Laura, this happens. I love that Drew example because this happens not just for media and for people and personalities. It happens for entertainment, shows that get canned and or don't get picked up and never get a Netflix deal. And then people start them on YouTube and then they get turned into Netflix shows. Comedians who start on their own, people who write their own books. What was his name? Weir, Anthony Weir. Uh, he wrote the. Okay, now it's gonna totally blank on me. The where he goes to Mars, and Matt Damon starred in the movie. Uh,
uh,
See, this is like 20 questions now. I've totally botched this part of this show. The Martian. The Martian.
okay.
He self-published that because other people weren't ready for it. They didn't think it would work. Half the book is a dude talking to himself, thinking through engineering problems in a really geeky way. It really is because the author loves to geek out on actual engineering things. Like, how would I recycle water if I was stuck on Mars? What would the gravity do to blah, blah, blah? So no one was ready for it. So he published it himself. And then they said, oh my God, he's got hundreds of thousands of readers for the self-published book. We're ready for it. And products, the same thing. New products, Poppy and Olipop started outside of Coke or Pepsi or Schweppes or any of the big guys because they weren't ready necessarily for a probiotic soda.
Which are delicious and I love. All right. So do you want to get into some of the original pitches?
Yeah. We do need to reveal, or did they know? They didn't know the celebrity at that point, did they?
No, they did not know that.
Okay. So
So
we'll
we're
do the
going to
original
keep it a
pitches.
secret from y'all as well.
One more thing I do want to say before we move on. In terms of actually making great work, Jimmy and Bose really shat the bed for getting great work out of these people by telling them on the same day that they're going to fire half of them.
That's fair.
I mean, come on. And Bose has probably been on both sides of this scimitar. Jimmy probably has too. Although Jimmy's had a great career, I don't know how much of his stuff's been axed. Nonetheless, when you want great ideas from people, the last thing you want them to do is to be coursing with cortisol and stress hormones and worried about their future. So it's a shitty environment to make great ideas. Huh?
That's what makes me most creative. I actually just have someone yell at me for 30 minutes before we jump on the podcast so I can bring my A game.
Good. Okay. Now I know. Now I know how you get so good. Well, and I'm not saying pressure is all bad. And Jimmy works under pressure all the time. He puts on a show every night. And as Bose said, for a lot of the work in marketing, you're under pressure all the time and you got to produce. But you can't come up with really great creative work if the guillotine is hanging over your head, the sword of Damocles is over your head, and you're like, you could just see it. You could see it on their faces. It was terrible. And if you see it on your people's faces, then poo on you. You need to be a better marketer and a better manager because you're not going to get better ideas that way. And I think we saw that.
A good example of that was Ryan's. This was his weakest pitch yet.
Terrible pitch.
Even though he could have probably feel confident that he was going into the Final Four, we saw it. He talked about it. This was his weakest pitch, unplugged and unleashed. I don't really even know what that means.
Unplugged and unleashed. Something in the wilderness.
A lot of these were in the wilderness. And again, I'm not grinding fresh coffee beans in the wilderness.
No. Occasionally, someone will take a blender to a tailgate so they can make margaritas.
Okay. I could be down with that.
But come on. They could do a whole series just about tailgating.
At a tailgate. That would be great.
Anyway, Ryan's pitch was weak. Unplugged and Unleashed, something wilderness, something something, with a terrible visual that Bo's called out. Mahari's Unplug and Cook, something about dads getting together. Sabrina, Untamed, Unfiltered, and Off the Cord. Lauren, Cook and Cruise, like she's a digital nomad, so it's like something about being out in the world. Elijah, Let Out Your Outlet, which was a fun play on words, but I think he really lost it when he's like, any kind of creative outlet you have, whether it's painting or sculpture. And, he's not going to win over KitchenAid with that.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our finalists. Oh, wait, one more from Ajel. Yeah, but can you make it on a blank? I'll come back to that one later.
All right, we'll circle back. I liked Mallory's with the as a person, I like Mallory's. As a marketer, I don't think that the primary purchase, I don't have the data, but I feel very confident that the primary person purchasing kitchen appliance is not a male. It should be, I love that, home chores and responsibilities are becoming more evenly split between partners and all of that. And I love the concept behind dads that are cooking and connecting emotionally. And I think it's something that society needs. And serving trying to solve the male loneliness epidemic by men having really strong friendships with other men and their dads, and they're cooking together, and that's great. And it's just not going to serve the actual target market that's going to be buying.
Correct.
So it was a great concept. I love it. I support it as a person, but it's never going to go as a marketer, unfortunately.
Yeah. So true. So true. Which leads us to our finals. We had the first choice was, I would say, pretty obvious because I thought it was a pretty strong choice. Bianca, with No Cords Attached, a dating style game where somehow they have to cook together and it's a date.
Yeah.
And then Piper with Breakfast in Bed, which had something to do with KitchenAid's in bed, because being in bed is somehow cute and probably better than being, on a mountaintop.
It's more realistic than immersion blending under a waterfall, I suppose. But
it wasn't a well-baked concept, haha. And it showed in the finals and when she did this video with their celebrity who was then revealed.
The one and only
Electra Assassin. Oh, sorry, Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner.
Yes.
I would say that Jennifer Garner did the heavy lifting for this episode.
Oh my God. She earned her money.
Phenomenal. She knew the brand really well. She understood the product positioning. She jumped in on the clips and made them what would have been kind of duds all around. She did a really great job getting in there. Oh, let me vacuum up those crumbs for you. And, just playing with everyone. She did a great job bringing both of these ideas to life.
I bet it was really three things. One, she's a veteran, like she's done it all. So she can just cruise in, get the work done, and then disappear, did you see how quickly she was in and out too? Like, oh my God, they had her contracted for 42 minutes. Secondly, I think her experience with Capital One, What's in Your Wallet, has honed her brand marketing chops. So she understands that space. And you're right. She had a deft hand when it came to being a celebrity spokesperson. And then just three, she's a pro. She's an actress. She's really good.
So Jennifer Garner won this episode.
I dock her points. I'm really harsh on the leads this time, aren't I? I dock the clients on their bad brief. I dock Jimmy and Bo's on threatening the whole team with the sword of Damocles just before they have to be creative. And I sadly I dock Jennifer Garner on taking Bianca's idea about a date, like a Tinder type thing or a Hinge or a Bumble, and saying, let's do the newlywed game. Or maybe it was Jimmy, but between Jimmy, I think it was Jennifer who said, I think it was Jimmy who said, let's do the newlywed game. And then Jennifer said, let's ask food related questions. Because then you had this old format where, oh, no, it wasn't the newlywed game, it was the dating game, right? It was one bachelorette and 3 bachelors, and they had to not see each other and then ask questions. So it was way too derivative. It should have been, what's the Bumble version of a dating series?
They were trying to pack a lot into not a lot of time. One of the bits of feedback actually that goes back to what we were talking about earlier was, don't let the love story overshadow the products themselves.
Right.
Which
I kept
is
saying that.
the worst bit of feedback I've ever heard in my life. You don't want a digital series. I don't care if they made guacamole or a smoothie. I care if they fell in love and lived happily ever after.
Right. Right.
What?
You know who did a version of this that was much more interesting? I don't really know the business results, but it's okay. Heineken, I think, did a version where they had 2 people come together to assemble like IKEA furniture. And once the furniture was assembled, they would sit down and have a conversation, and they were purportedly from different sides of various aisles.
Okay.
So they were politically different, they were economically different, they were socially different, religiously different. And the notion was, if you sit and have a beer with someone, it's hard to hate them. I would have to go back and look to see how forced it was or how much these were really just paid actors. But it was more compelling of a story because it was about people bridging a difference. And then it happened to have a beer that they'd sit down and drink together at the end. Like, I would have loved to see Bianca's dating thing, like I said, be the Bumble version of a web series where 2 people have to get together and their first date is cooking together.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, right? You get to see more about them as you see how they cook.
Yeah. So that was Bianca. She's on one side of a fern. There's 3 bachelors using the products to make hummus and guac and a smoothie.
Yeah.
And we're trying to answer the questions and have the dating game format and highlight the products and make food.
Way too much.
It was a lot. And then even at the end of it, the client was like, "Oh, I don't think they featured the products enough," which is like, oh, okay, friend. All right.
Yep.
So there was that. Piper's was sort of an interview style, almost podcast that also included making breakfast in bed.
Right.
The cord. The problem is that a lot of the breakfast in bed things that we're wanting to eat are going to require cooking of some sort, and these products don't have a heating element.
Yeah.
I can grind my coffee beans in bed, but I'll still have to go get the hot water.
Yeah.
I can't make eggs or waffles using these KitchenAid Go products.
It was, in a way, this was the closest to Hot Wings, where it's supposedly just an interview, but then it happens to have this crazy setting.
Yes.
And the setting happens to be Jennifer Gardner with Mahari in a bed with 3 maitre d's or butlers serving them. And Jennifer, to her credit, she kept trying to kind of make light of the oddness of squeezing oranges in bed or pouring hot water into your coffee carafe in bed on your lap. But like, it was just so obviously a challenge. And that's where an idea like this might be terrible at first, and it might be awesome when you figure out the 5th round of it. And this was round 1, where it was stuff comes out of the oven and it's just disaster and you throw it away.
Yeah. Now, Ajal had a very similar concept, but instead of in bed, they're in a car. And I actually was drawn to that concept a little bit more than the in bed. Ajel's bit of
Yeah.
feedback was it's a little too broad. It's not that practical, but Piper's wasn't practical either.
No, I know.
And at least in a car, you're sitting up, and then you can really highlight the products. Oh, let me pull out the blender now. Let me pull out
Mhm.
this. Let me pull out that. They're very, very similar concepts. I don't know. Something about the car spoke to me more than the in bed, and maybe it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and the challenge piece, because her whole headline was, "Yeah, but can you make it on a" and so imagine, if you
Oh,
will,
sorry.
maybe
I was thinking Lauren's, not Ajel's. Lauren's is the
oh,
one that was the cooking cruise.
yeah,
Uh, sorry, but
drive
back
around.
to Ajel's. Yeah.
Back to Ajel's, yeah, but can you make it on a blank? There's a challenge, and if it is about a challenge to an extreme cooking sitch, then you're challenging people to make harder and harder food in weirder and weirder places.
Mhm.
That might sound interesting. Maybe you partner with Subaru or
Oh,
Land Rover, and you've got a vehicle partner who actually drives you to these weird ass places to make the most fancy, like Yorkshire pudding. But can you make Yorkshire pudding on a, yacht cruise with a yurt on top? And there was an element of it. Yeah, but can you make it on it? Which reminded me of um, Sam I Am. I will not eat green eggs and ham. I will not eat
okay.
them on a train. I will not eat them in the rain. I
Oh,
will not eat them in a box. I will not eat them with a fox. And it was just, it at least had a formula and a challenge where you could see it getting more and more extreme. But that was
yeah,
not
I
Piper's idea. It was a bed.
the bed.
Yeah.
Again, and I don't think that this is a feedback on the contestants really. I do think this is an issue with the brief.
Yep.
The brief just filled my pickle. I tell you what.
Well, when you squeeze that pickle, you never know which way it's going to squirt.
How many pickle quotes do we think Sabrina has? Like, how many different pickle related quotes
I think
do?
she's got a whole barrel full.
Uh,
So
Um,
let's talk about the winner.
yes, the winner of this was
Bianca.
Bianca yet again.
Yet
She is
again.
leading the charge, leading the team. And
Yep.
then after that, immediately after that, they went through and told us who the finalists were, the final four contestants.
Yep.
Um,
And they held seed, which is a sportsing phrase to say that the people who were the best ended up in the finals, and there were no Cinderella stories or upsets. Right? Sabrina was not included in some surprising shock, and Ryan was not cut in some surprising shock.
I still say justice for Lauren. I think she had a lot of great ideas.
She did.
She was my honorable mention so many times. So I think she's got a lot of great things ahead of
Yep.
her and her career. I mean, they all do.
You're going to show the leaderboard, even though
Yes, I'm pulling
it's
it up.
moot
I
for
am.
the final episode. Here, let's do
Um,
this. Here we go. The final leaderboard. Because next week, none of it matters. And apparently, none of the past matters. It's
mhm.
blank slate. So Bianca held seed. She was the strongest coming in. She had another win. So she's got 45 points. Piper edged out Ryan to take second place with 28 points to Ryan's 27. Mahari had 22. And so those were the top four. And sure enough, they were kept.
Your scoring system seems to be accurate.
I
When
quantified the qualitative.
when they let Piper through into the finals, those had a quote that was something along the lines of normally it's people, strategists that are leading. And so it's nice to see someone lead from a creative standpoint. I took umbrage with that because I don't think that, I don't know that that's necessarily true.
I
But more
agree.
importantly, I think that the best marketers are the ones that blend the strategy with the creative. You have to have both sides to really be successful. If you're
Yep.
only creative, you're not paying attention to the um, industry or the market or where your brand has been and what it's doing. But if you're only focusing on that, you're going to get some pretty bland stuff. And so I understand she was trying to highlight like you are really creative and that's super awesome. But I don't like the insinuation that it's only one or only the other. I think you
Yeah.
really need both to be truly successful.
Very true. Very true. And then whatever that thing is that finally helps you figure it out, crack the problem. Some will call it a strategic leap or an insight. Some will, I often love the phrase creative leaps, you know, the man your man could smell like. Do you remember that guy for Old
Mhm.
Spice?
Yeah.
That came from a mix. The strategic leap was, you know what? Women actually shop for their men's deodorant a fair bit. Maybe we should talk to the ladies too. That was an interesting strategic direction. The creative leap of having an over the top sexy guy. Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Does your man smell like a lady or a man? Well, now he can smell like a man with new Old Spice. Like maybe I've memorized it. I'm not sure. But and then the delivery itself was also a leap. They were going to play it more straight, and then for some reason the actor um he just started riffing in this campy over the top way. And then Wyden and Kennedy, the agency, decided they'd go over the top and have all of these live action props change. There was only one CGI thing in that whole first ad, including he got on the horse for real during
I
the
want a
30-second
horse.
spot. I'm on a horse. So yeah, creative leaps, strategic leaps, the best work is both.
Yeah. All right. It is now time for the one and only official Ethan Decker Award for Premium Stickiness of the Week, awarded to the campaign that we'll continue to think about until, at the very least, tomorrow, maybe even the next day.
The stickiness for me would go to Mahari's idea about dads
Okay.
because it was the only one that could have gone heartstrings, and it could have really gone heartstrings and opened up uh, KitchenAid to not just men and young men and men who live on their own or men live with other dudes to buy stuff, but also women love seeing men being sensitive. Now, I'm
Yeah.
totally stereotyping and I'm totally being heteronormative here, but certainly a big way to make women head of households or women who shop for appliances fall for the brand is to show men getting real and getting tender and teary eyed about being a dad,
Maybe
right?
if I buy this juicer, my partner will.
Yep.
No, I love that. Unfortunately, the client says that it does not feature products enough. It's really more focused on the emotions that men have and being fathers, and we don't want to highlight
Yep.
that. We just want to highlight the
I
mixers.
know. And that was where I think had Mahari had a strategist with him or had time on his hands, he could have created a great selling story to the clients and say, A, most people live alone now in America, which is a crazy stat, which means men are living alone. Some of them like to cook. Some of them like to have people over for dates, whether straight or gay. And then if you're not living alone, the way to a partner is often through watching their tough partner get choked up and turn into a soft mush talking about their baby or being a father or whatever it is. It would be a really cool campaign. Okay, that takes us to our final segment. 2 minutes
2
to win
minutes
it.
to win it. The part of the podcast where I pause the show right after the brief is given and make up my own campaign to fit the brief. And this week, it is the Let's Go KitchenAid campaign starring the internet's favorite antagonist, Billy Eichner from Billy on the
Oh,
Street.
yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Billy on the Street, this comedian goes around and just verbally accosts people, and asks them hard-hitting questions like, Miss for a dollar, name a woman. Name a
Right.
woman. Or, just really aggressive questions in a really funny way. Now, is this the KitchenAid brand? Not at all. Is this a new series? Also no. But I think it could highlight the features and benefits of the products. Instead of saying, Miss for a dollar, can you juice this? Or Miss for a dollar, name a woman. Miss for a dollar, can you juice this orange? And then really quickly, because part of the series is speed and quickness, and he's yelling at you, go faster, go faster. So seeing that you can, make a orange juice fresh on the go, would be really great. And the replaceability of the battery to other products. KitchenAid products are now with you on the go. Let's Go KitchenAid, which is a riff off of one of my favorite bits from Billy on the Street, which was him screaming, "Let's go, lesbians!"
I have to watch that one.
It's a really great one. Name a woman while you chop up some pecans. So it's adding another feature to the campaign. Use this food processor to chop up some pecans and name a woman. See, it's easy. You can do both. It's so simple. I think the value in this is that we're not creating our own digital series. We're sponsoring a series, which
Yep.
I actually think could work better for KitchenAid. Taking a digital series that is already working, a limited investment into that, and then you feature your products. People already know it. You're not necessarily trying to get a brand new audience for this campaign. So yeah, that's Let's Go KitchenAid.
That's great. That's great. I like it. I like the idea of sponsoring and supporting and doing something that's already successful because it's already entertaining. I mean, even Jimmy himself is an entertainer, and now he's doing this stuff which is partly entertaining, but also it's brand shilling. I mean, every single episode has been fully sponsored by a brand who's paying to be on the show. So, yeah, step one, he of all people should know you have to be entertaining first and foremost, which takes us to our recap. You got to know who your product is really for. Like, what occasion does it really live in, and what problems does it really solve? And that will help you go after people who have that occasion and have that need. You got to know that stuff. Focusing on occasions versus demos is a much better way to target. We talked about how to get the best ideas out of creative people, and it's not by threatening them. It's by creating safer environments where cortisol is not coursing through their blood, and where they can really just play and find the rich, fun, cool, magnetic ideas. We talked about clients who aren't ready and who might not be the right clients or at the right time to do this great thing, and that's okay. And coming up with a championship team or a championship campaign is hard, and it's a team effort, and it takes the stars aligning. And then we talked about Jennifer Gardner,
Yeah.
because throw her in the mix. Why not? They did too. We get to as well. Yeah. She's a legend.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited for the finale next week. We'll see who wins it all.
Yes.
Place your bets now. The final episode is already out at the time of recording this, but still place your bet.
There's also a side bet to see how many of them will cry.
And it will cry. So far, Jimmy's cried. Bianca's cried.
Bose has said she
Piper's cried.
Piper's cried.
And Mahari.
Yep. Mahari cried.
I think Ryan's the only holdout. Let's make Ryan cry.
You sure? I thought he cried right at the beginning when we got rid of JT.
I don't know. Maybe we've all cried. So it's just you, Ethan. We need to make you cry.
Okay. Well, place your bets to see if I cry next time my friend Laura Dodds and I reconvene for Cover Brand Covers on Brand with Jimmy Fallon, featuring Bozema St. John, sponsored by whoever's up next week.
See y'all next week. Bye.
If you've ever listened to the show and thought, man, my team could use this stuff, then call me. Training teams on brand science is literally what I do. Learn more at appliedbrandscience.com. And remember, people don't share your content because they love your brand. They share your content because they love their friends. See you next time.